Hello guys, welcome to Ignition. So in this video we're going to be learning about for loops. Really easy to understand, especially from this video. So there are two types of loops in Python, and the two loops are for loop and while loop. Now they are different in functions, but they do overlap on a lot of functions. So on a few functions you can either use for loop or while loop, whichever you want. So today we're going to be learning for loops. Now for loops are used to execute a code for a fixed number of times. So you can define how many times you want something to be executed or something to be printed, and then it is used also to iterate over a string, sequence, list, or any other thing, even a dictionary. So many things. Okay, so we're gonna be starting with a for loop generally has a structure. So this structure is for, and then you can type in any variable as a counter. So this is basically like how many times it will be, or like what you want again and again. So people may use x in range, and range is a function which, as its name suggests, is used to give a range. It's used to produce a range. So inside, then we put some brackets, and there are a few parameters inside these brackets. So the first result we want is 1, so we want it to basically count from 1. So we're going to be starting with 1, and then we want it to count to, let's say, 20. So we're going to be typing in 21, because obviously, as we all know, the last value does not count, so the Python only will print till 20. Okay, then we put a colon, press enter, we automatically get an indentation, and now we say print x. So this is a basic for loop structure. Now many people here, they use I instead. I is pretty popular. Some people just type in underscore, you could use that too. Some people just type in counter as a whole, but whatever you do, you should change it here as well. So I'm gonna be sticking with I, as that's what I've been using. Let us print this code and check if it works. So we have a whole result of numbers all the way from 1 to 20. So we are getting them on different lines, because that's what for loop does. Now suppose we want it to count reverse, or maybe as a countdown. So here we can go ahead and type in, let's say, print happy birthday. So it's a countdown for a birthday, and then we use a function called reversed, and then we indent this whole thing inside it. Let us see what we get the result now. Actually, we're going to be reducing this to 11, because 21 is a big countdown, and we have a reverse countdown from 10, because obviously the last one, it's not counting, they're not going to be printing it. All the way from 10 to 1 we have a countdown, followed by a happy birthday. So this is just one of those really good features of Python. Now you have some, now there is one more parameter that you can use here. So we're going to be removing reverse, and here itself you can use a parameter, one more parameter, which is just basically like how many you want to skip, or where all do you want to print. So if I type in 2, it's gonna start from 1, and then after 2 characters it's gonna print that character. So it's gonna skip a character and print the next one, because we have a parameter of 2. Let us see if it works. So we run this, and we have 1, 3, 7, 5, 7, and 9. So we can change this to 3 as well. Let's see what happens then. And we get 1 plus 3, 4, 7, and 10. So that is a function of the third parameter. Okay, now we will take a date up on top. So let's say the date is September, so maybe like 1st of September. So it's gonna be a string, obviously, because you can't have all these values in a string. 9th 2025, let's say 2025. Now for I in range of date, and we're gonna remove these parameters, and we're gonna type in for I, and we're gonna be removing range as well. For I in date, as in the variable date, we want it to print character by character. Now let's see what happens when we do this. Now we get each character on a different line, and we can see is in such a way. So that here we are iterating over the string. As I said before, the for loop can be used to iterate over sequence, list, strings, and all kind of things. So this is just another example. Now we suppose I want it to count from 1 to 10, but let's say I want it to skip the number 6. So once again we're going to be using the range function. For I in range, we once again have the same parameter, just count till 10. Okay, and then if I is capital, Python is case sensitive, so you gotta be really careful. If I is equal to 6, then we must, if I is in fact equal to 6, then just continue. Now continue and break, these are two functions that you can use in Python. Else you just gotta print the character. So what happens here is when I becomes equal to 6, that number just basically gets skipped. So the loop does not break as a whole, but it just continues, but it does not does the same function on 6. That's like it's gonna be doing on all the other characters. Let us run and try this out. So we have 1 2 3 4 5, and then we have a 7, not a 6. The 6 gets skipped. Now let us try break. So what break does is break, as the name suggests, totally just breaks off the functions. The for loop just totally stops. So let us try this, and we have 1 2 3 4 5, and the code is broken, so the for loop is broken, and we just stop here. So yeah, that's all for loops. It's a really simple and easy concept, as you guys just saw. It's gonna be really useful, and as I said before, for loops and while loops have slightly different functions. While loops are sometimes better if you want to, let's say, count till infinity. So if you want something an infinite number of times, generally while loop is better. They have different functions, they overlap at a few places. So stay tuned for the video on while loops. That's all for loops. Hope you understood. Don't forget to like and subscribe.